Perfect. Hey, welcome everyone. It's Thursday, and we are talking about how much are you worth? And I'm assuming, I'm going to just assume at this point that you've been listening to this and going over this. And, I find that some of this, you have to remember that this program, Lead the Field, was originally created in the 60s by Earl Nightingale. And Bob met with Earl's business partner's son. So Earl was in business with a man whose name was Lloyd Conant. And hold on, we just got a message. We he was in business. It was called Nightingale Conant Publishing Company, is still in business. So what happened was Bob, of course, was listening to Lead the Field in addition to reading Think and Grow Rich every single day, because his mentor, Ray Stanford, told him to do this. And he did not have the metacognition awareness that we have. Hold on, I'm going to shut my door. Quiet. Bob didn't have the metacognition awareness of what was happening. That's why he spent 9 years trying to figure it out. And so he sold his business and went to work with Earl and Lloyd because he knew he would get a world-class education with Earl, bar none. He said, I would have paid them to work there. He had an office, and that was his goal, right next to Earl Nightingale's office, right between Earl and Lloyd. So how this program that we have in our hands came into being is one day about, I bet it was 7 years ago now, maybe ish. Yeah. He met with Lloyd Conant's son, Vic, and they came up with this idea. Bob had this intention, but they came up with this idea to have Bob remaster this Lead the Field program. And what I love about what we have here is, think of the 60s. I was born in 1960. In the 60s, people were not talking about spiritual, well, some people were, but not in this way, in a very mainstream way. It was more maybe the Hare Krishnayers and, other people, transcendental meditation, the Yogi Mashara, I'm getting the name wrong. But Earl took all the universal laws, and I believe that they learned those through the Science of Getting Rich from Wallace D. Wattles, because Wattles lays out there, and if you watch that video that I reposted, they laid out the universal laws, the law of rhythm, the law of polarity, the law of cause and effect, transmutation of energy, the law of gender. Earl buried all these laws into this program. So what Bob has done, and he said it was so great. He said he was just sitting there talking to Vic, thinking, please, say yes to this proposal. And Vic did agree for Bob to remaster this. And so what we have in our hands is not only the original content that Earl put in it, but also Bob's annotations and his enhancement of the program to really help us understand. For example, one of the big key elements in this is the concept that everything is energy. Everything exists on a frequency, right?
Yeah.
We are vibrational beings, and anything that we are in vibrational, whatever our state of vibration is, will dictate what is attracted to us. They don't teach this anywhere. We've all, many of us have had higher educations or, serious life educations. And I never came across this at any of the elite colleges or universities, or even the mindset and manifestation and metaphysical trainings that I had done. Nobody was really talking about everything is energy. People are now. People weren't talking about this back then. Joe Dispenza is saying, and this is what the quantum physicists are saying, everything exists in a super state of possibility in the quantum field. Meaning there's this energetic field that we live in. It's like this vibrational suit. Bob calls it this pure positive lavender energy flowing to and through us in his meditations. But it has no shape or form until it hits our thoughts, our intellectual faculties. So we live in this amazing, beautiful, energetic soup that we can create anything out of, right? We live first on a spiritual level. We're connected to spirit. Spirit is everywhere, omnipresent. We can create anything. This is what's so beautiful about that video that Bob did. We are constantly transmutating that energy to and through us into physical form. And now we understand that the Play-Doh factory of this quantum field is our thoughts, our higher faculties, our imagination, our intuition, our reason, our will. We use our will once our imagination has created an image of what we want. We use our will not to brute force engineer it, but to hold that image on the screen of our minds, no matter what. If all hell is breaking loose outside of you, Bob never got ruffled. I never once saw the man ruffled. Because he knew how to control this setup. That's it. We got one job. I was just telling this to the TIR client. You got one job. I remember him once saying that he was running his business, and I think they had like a $750,000. Kathy, did you hear this story? It was either $250,000 or $750,000 like margin call or something. The bank called the note.
I think so. I did hear that. Yeah.
Yeah. And he was like, he had a staff of people, and he said, "You guys figure it out. I know you'll handle it. I'm going to go have a custom suit made." He didn't like freak out and run around and get nervous and get upset. He was like, "Y'all got this. I'm visualizing it done. Handle it. I'll be back. I'm going to go spend $2,500 on a suit." That kind of inner calm comes from understanding. And Bob tells us, and it's true, the only problem we have is ignorance. Ignorance of what? Who we are as infinite beings. And this is what this lesson is telling us. You have to believe. You have to build the belief that you and everyone else on this planet have infinite potential inside of you. The limiting beliefs that we carry around with us, the ignorance, and those limiting beliefs come from ignorance. Ignorance of what? Who we are as limitless beings. Ignorance of the universal laws that govern our being. The law of cause and effect. I was telling the group in the last hour, we had a situation yesterday that I could feel myself. Boom, the bottom was dropping out. I could feel it. I was like, come on. You know better. Stop it. And I was in that like death, deadly embrace, that kind of spinning wheel of death on your computer. It was like, come on. And I went back and I listened to this lesson. And then I came home and just said, you know what? Give it a rest. Just give it a rest. Not my job. What's my job? That little sliver down the one side of the paper. Be happy, be in joy, have faith, have faith. It will resolve. And guess what? I had a really good talk with Dan, had a little meltdown. He's like, honey, I know you're feeling uncomfortable, but you know what? You gotta pull your shit together. And he's not often that frank with me, but he's like, you know better. And I'm like, I know. And I was kind of indulging in the drama. And he's like, okay, how long you need? I'm like, I'm done. If you must, give yourself 5 minutes, but no more, But the best thing to do is catch it early and flip it. So what did I do? I made us a nice dinner. We watched the end of our Netflix thing, and I went to bed with the intention that it would resolve. And voila, we got a WhatsApp chat this morning saying, guess what? This should all resolve within the next 7 days. I'm like, wow, look at that. It's funny how these things work, So why am I telling you this? Because I'm a mere mortal myself. But Excuse me. He says it right here. The more we study ourselves, the more our beliefs will change. And we have to practice. We have to practice what our new beliefs are. If you find yourself in a real uncomfortable spot, just say, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Am I in God's business? Am I in the universe's business right now? Am I taking care of my business? No, I'm not taking care of my business. I'm being a pill. I'm letting myself get into the drama and indulging myself in the story and why it won't work and the history and the I can't, it won't. Why is this happening to like that thing? Throwing yourself a little pity party. That's to me. That's in the victim mode. Not taking responsibility. Right? If it's meant to be, it's up to me. But only taking care of your lane. Your thoughts on a conscious level, your feelings on a subconscious level, and your behavior on a physical level. And so I did exactly what he tells us to do here. After studying this Lead the Field program and working with it worldwide for close to 40 years, I am totally convinced the average individual walking up and down the street has absolutely no idea of the awesome power that resides within them. What is this awesome power? This is the power to consciously, because we're eradicating our ignorance through study and knowledge, to consciously say, wait a minute, if I want different results in my life, I got to change me. I'm the only problem I'll ever have, and baby, I'm the only solution. And if I don't like my income, that is a lagging indicator of my past paradigm. Now, if I'm going to stay in that past paradigm loop, guess what I'm going to get more of? The same. So the power we have is in that video that Bob, if you haven't watched it, or even if you have, hold on one second. Watch it again. Watch it every day. He says, watch this video every day for 30 days. That is it, ladies. That's the whole thing in a nutshell. That is netting it out. That's it. Now, we have all this other work, supporting work, and that video makes sense. If I showed that to one of my new students, it wouldn't make the kind of sense, right, Kathy? If you'd seen that.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's barely making sense to me today. Like it's like every time I watch it, it's like light bulbs, right?
It's the best. It is what it is. It is where things are. If we can just remember that.
And stay in that. And what makes it hard? When the lagging indicators of our circumstances or outside circumstances start to come at us and trigger shame, guilt, remorse, why me, whatever it is that gets triggered in us, old patterns, that even though they feel uncomfortable, they kind of have a little bit of a warm blanket feel to them. Because, hey, it's not my fault. Why does this keep happening? Well, Dan should be doing something different and better. Or, these people should be doing something different and better. It's like, come on, Margaret. That's not the game here. We know better, right? That's what I have my little come to Jesus talk with myself. I use my full name, Margaret Louise. It's like, come on, snap out of it. Pull up your big girl underwear. Get with the program. What do you want? What do you want? Are you focused on what you want? That is, talk about netting it out. That is the most simple question you can ask yourself in a moment of downward spiral. Am I focused? What do I want? And am I focused on that? No. Okay, next. Swipe left. What are you going to do about it? I'm going to get into the energy of what I want. It's already here. It's coming. It's not if, it's when. How can I compress the when? Oh, I can just be in the energy of it. I can know that the answer's here. It's all taken care of. I just need to get in the energy of it. Now, that sounds ridiculous to people on the street, but that's because they don't know what we know. So, you truly can create the world when you believe it. How do we build belief? Belief is write this down. Belief is a thought you think over and over and over again. I want you this week, through the weekend, to do this and to really examine your beliefs, your limiting beliefs in particular. At one point, the common collective was that the earth was flat. I don't know. I still see things online that say the earth is flat. I don't know. I've been high enough up in a private jet that I've seen the curvature of the earth. So I've seen it with my own eyes. I do believe that the earth is round. And there's enough in the solar system to tell us that. But that was the common sense. I know we find that hard to believe today. But at one point, the common parlance was that the earth was flat. And if you sailed a boat out far enough, it would fall off the edge. We in this, where we are today in human history, there's so many advances. I mean, and truly I do thank God that there's medicine, because my daughter probably would have lost her finger or worse had she not been in a high level medical care, surgically treated, high level antibiotics. I mean, all the medical interventions saved her life. So I'm so grateful for the mechanical age. I'm so grateful for the industrial age. It's brought us computers and vehicles and jets and spaceships and, all manner of amazing things that frankly we all take for granted. But those were all things that at some point nobody believed was possible. We're all old enough here to remember when you got on a phone in your parents' house. It wasn't this.
No.
It had a cord connected to it, and your parents could pick up the other phone and hear you. Dan remembers his mother working for AT&T or Bell Telephone at the time, being like a switchboard operator. So belief, humanity's ability to change belief, and individuals, right? It took Steve Jobs to say, this will happen. He saw it in his imagination. He said, what would be great? Wouldn't it be great if we had a phone that had more computing power than the first building that sent the rockets to the moon? And voila, we have that. And by the way, it operates on frequency. If I call your number, Laura, I only get you. I don't get Kathy. Mm-hmm. So what's the point about this? Everything is energy. And I'm telling you, within the next 10 to 20 years, this will become common parlance. Aren't we lucky we're on the leading edge of this? But we have to manage ourselves through this. Feeling is a word that describes our conscious awareness of our vibration. If you're feeling sad, that's a word we've described to generally describe what sadness, the vibration of sadness, feels like. Sadness is an emotion of loss, and it's appropriate, of course, at times. But people turn it into a mood. It becomes so much part of their personality, or depression, or anxiety, or anger, or frustration. We don't move through. And Laura, the work you do is so powerful at helping people move through those to reach higher levels, to live in the joy that we're built to live in, right? So you can truly create the world you imagine when you believe it. That is a meta belief that I want you all to start walking around saying to yourself, highlight this, write it on a sticky note, put it on your vision board. I can truly create the world I want to live in.
Which page are you on, Peggy?
Page 3.
Page 3 of lesson 8.
Yep.
Okay.
Peggy, I just have to say, we are creating our world.
Yeah.
We do already.
Yes. Thank you.
Now, is this really what we want? Apparently.
Well, but here's the thing, Laura, and
I love what you're doing. I love what you're saying. I get it. I totally get it.
And here's what, yes, you do get it. Here's the cool thing. People say to me, and this is a deal in my industry that I'm committed to breaking. People hear about manifestation. They hear about the law of attraction, which, by the way, is a secondary law. The secret that was left out of the secret is that the law of attraction is based on the law of vibration, right? The law of vibration states everything vibrates, nothing rests. Your body.
Did you
Yeah.
go find that movie, What the Bleep Do We Know About Water? Because it was all about vibration.
Oh, no, I did not. I think
Okay.
that happened and then I flew
Okay.
off to the world.
Yeah,
What the bleep do, but I have watched What the Bleep Do We Know.
yeah, you have. It's by Dr. Emoto's. It's based
Yeah.
on his book, and that does talk about vibration. But
Right.
but you're exactly right. You're exactly right. I love the idea. And here's what's so cool. And I apologize if you can hear that in the background. I'll make it
No
quick.
worries. No worries.
When you said that everything exists simultaneously, that rings so true to me, because I can look at a picture and see a person 80 years ago that I've never met. And I've
Yes.
often wondered why I can do that. I often wondered
Yes.
why I could tap into somebody 50 miles away and never met them, or see
Right.
this, or I can't see the future, but I I've often wondered why. It's because it all exists all the
It's
time.
here.
It's
Yeah.
completely here all the
Yes.
time. You hear about that when you hear about scriptures and talk about when we leave this life, the veil that we have that keeps us limited to some extent. When we get past that, we'll know everything.
Yes.
Everything will be available. We'll see everything. So it's
Right.
all there.
Right. And what we're working on here is seeing it now. I mean,
Yes.
where
Well,
is
believing that it's there. We're here to live by faith, I think. And
100%.
yeah. And so the idea, anyway, okay, I'll
Yeah.
start. Okay.
No. But here's the two beautiful truths that you're pointing out here. What we're learning, the way we're learning to live, really, this is a life handbook. The way we're learning to live here is in alignment with the truth of how life really works. It doesn't matter how you got programmed up before. It doesn't matter all the caca that's in your belief system. None of that matters. What matters is we're here today, and there's fundamental truths. And you're absolutely right. And so much of what I was going to say is, people come to me, and the secret that was left out of the secret, as Bob has famously said, is that the law of attraction is a secondary law. You have to know how to make yourself a vibrational match, aka in harmony, in alignment with the good you desire. Kathy, that's what we're teaching people in this program.
Yeah.
We're teaching
And
them.
isn't that done by faith and peace? Just
It's
faith.
yes.
Really faith. We were reading the scriptures the other night, and I'm not kidding you. It seems like, okay, every night Bruce and I read a chapter together.
Yeah.
And this is in the Book of Mormon. And the last time we read it was, again, ask and you shall receive. Ask. Don't
Right
ask.
there.
I mean, over and over and over again. For me, it ends up being that I'll be responsible for what I'm asking for. So,
Yep. Yeah.
but so it really just becomes a matter of faith.
Yes. And it's on page 106 in your Thinking into Results guide. He talks about the difference between, oh my goodness, my little cutie, little beauty, little. I don't know. I think Laura has her headphones in. What a cutie. What a sweetheart. And Laura, how wonderful. Like, your embodiment of this is going to have a downstream effect on that little beauty, because guess what? Her mind is wide open. How old is she? 4, 3?
No, she's 2.
She's
and
2.
and both of my boys and both of my daughter-in-laws are in this same vibration, this energy, and doing it from different avenues. But I could let him listen to you and he'd be like, yeah, mom, this is what so I feel very blessed right now to have my entire family and being able to do this with you and Bruce doing it with Dan has made us closer.
Yeah.
So okay.
It's so beautiful. No worries. So on lesson 106, Laura's pointing to faith, and Kathy, this is so important for us to teach our clients, and so important for us to embody. Belief is absolutely directly connected to faith, right? A belief is a thought that we think over and over and over again. So
Which
we want
page is it? Are you on? I just got my
no,
book.
no worries. Yeah, sorry. So I'm actually in TIR. I'm talking,
Yes.
we're on TIR, page 106. And Bob
106.
talks here about
Okay.
the difference between ignorance. Remember, I said there's only
Yes.
one problem in the world is ignorance. And
Yes.
Kathy, because we teach this and because we're embodying it ourselves for everyone else here,
Sure.
people are just simply ignorant. And it doesn't mean they're stupid. Now, there is
They are.
stupidity out there, but they are ignorant of what? And I don't care what university you went to. Bob taught this to psychiatrists. He taught this to teachers. He taught this to psychologists. This is not being widely taught, and we have to really appreciate the gravitas that we have found our way to this material.
Yes,
and be grateful for
totally.
that every single day. But the ignorance leads to, if you look at the top of this page, it leads to worry and doubt on a conscious level. It leads to fear on a emotional level and anxiety and depression on a physical level. And when we flip that to faith, and Bob used to say, you know, faith, just faith based on anything but knowledge will evaporate in the wind when things get tough. There's a saying that, you remember the flying Walindas? If we're old enough, like they were these people who did these aerial things. And one of the guys was on a tightrope going over Niagara Falls. And he had a barrel that he was pushing across the tight. I forget the whole details, but one of the guys was like, you can do this. You can do this. I have faith in you. He's like, great, get in the barrel. You know, you know, faith based in understanding, because faith just based in, you know, anything else but understanding is going to evaporate the minute the going gets tough. But we build faith by having knowledge, right? Like I have faith that if I get in my car, that sucker is going to start up. Do I know how the engine works? No, but I know that Chevrolet made a good product. I happen to own one. It's in good working condition. And every time I go out there, that thing starts up. I have faith in that. I have faith that it's going to get dark tonight because I know it's based in knowledge. So how do we get knowledge? Through study. That's why the constant spaced repetition and then integrating it into our lives is so important, because that's how we build a new faith-based belief system. We see this working in our lives, and then it reinforces the belief. So the more, he says here, you can truly create the world you imagine when you believe it. So people say to me, I don't know if I can manifest things. I'm like, good news, bad news. You are. Yes. That's what I say, because the law of attraction is 24/7. The law of permanent transmutation of energy is always in action. We are always taking thought, moving it through us emotionally, and turning it into results. Now, that's a hard pill for some of us to swallow. I would never produce the negative results that I'm experiencing in my life. You would never do it on a conscious level. Nobody, and this isn't victim shaming. That's not what this is about. But your subconscious programming, remember that? AKA your paradigms, your habitual way of perceiving things, of thinking about who you are, of perceiving how the world works, that we have to hustle and grind. Dan was talking about this in our mastermind yesterday. He was built like a good Midwesterner by people who had survived the Depression on hard work, hustle, and grind. And that way of being will get you only so far. But if you have really big aspirations, you're going to have to switch into through me, into relying on this greater power and using your mind in a different way. So, you know, what we're learning here is so important. And belief, which is what we're talking about here. What are we talking about belief in? You are, to Laura's point, it is constantly at work. So the question is, what am I thinking about? Am I thinking about what I want? Or am I worried, fearful, and doubtful that what I want won't happen? Because I can't see the how. I don't know when it's going to happen.
I think I've changed from worry. I identified the worry. It was sneaky. It was insidious. You know,
As they always are.
I had to really get still and find that, and realize that it was the when that was tripping me up. So
Right.
you're all done? Okay, sweetie. So, it was the when that was holding me up. And so now I've relinquished and said, okay, on your time, God, on your time, but this is what I want. I'm completely at peace. I know he'll give it to me. And I'm expecting miracles to happen because I have no idea how.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So
Well,
it's a peaceful.
yeah. And here's how we can have peace and faith in the how. If we do our work, it's not if, it's just a matter of when.
Well, and I can't imagine sitting still. But the
I know.
greatest gift you gave me was that it doesn't have to be worried work. It can be
Yes.
acting on inspired inspiration. That has become so damn fun. Like,
Right.
oh my gosh, really? We can do that? Oh my gosh, we can do that? Oh wow, look at that. What just happened? I
Right.
mean, it's fun. It's not worry. It doesn't
No,
hurt.
it's
So
a
let's just
different
see what happens.
energy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hold on. My daughter is having a dental problem. I'll call her back. Hold on. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. She's my daughter. Will you send me this dentist digits? Yes. Hold on. Absolutely. And I'm going to tell you a story about that. We talked about everything being frequencies. Everything already exists. Everything that ever is, was, will be is evenly present in all places and all time. Bob's energy is still here, probably more so with us than ever before. Anybody's energy you can tap into in a positive way and start to see life through their energy. And I had a great story from one of our people in RPM yesterday, and she was trying to do travel, and figure things out. And it was a struggle bus, like, can't figure it out. She was doing this thing, and she's bright. She's very bright, very smart, very capable. But like there was all this drag on it, and it was obviously resistance. And then she just laid it down and let it go and just said, you know what, it's all going to work itself out. And she and her fiance went out for a walk. And in that moment, she's like, I'm in the vortex. I'm inspired. I'm in it. I got to go back and do the planning. And like she knew it because she has practiced feeling when she's in alignment and when she's not in alignment. And she literally ran back to her desk and sat down. And she said, in the course of like 3 hours, had flights for all 5 of them, had Airbnbs. It's a multi-city trip in Europe, had all the car service and the flights and the Airbnbs and everything. It was like, pew, 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 pew. And when she felt, I just get chills telling this story to, and Laura's smiling because I know, you know, that feeling, but that's your intuition. That's moving yourself, letting yourself, not forcing yourself into alignment. Your natural state is in alignment.
Feels like
walk,
like through me.
yes,
And
it's
even
like
as me to some extent.
Like in your case, let go and let God. Like, you know
Right.
what? This is above my pay grade. That's finally where I got last night. It was like, screw it. You know what? I have been pushing this thing so damn hard that my way's not working. Clearly, I would be feeling better if it were. I'm going to let it go. I'm going to put that stick down because I'm only on the end of how it's not working. I'm only on this end. I'm not focused on it's all resolved. Everything's done, 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 done. Happiness, joy, my goal achieved. No, I am like, so I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to make a nice vegetable pasta dinner. We're going to have a nice evening, yada, 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 yada. And then this morning, we get this message like, hey, this should resolve within 7 days. Now, here's the important thing. What?
Did you write back and say, of course it did?
Yeah, of course it did. So here's the thing. I had this question from one of my clients this week in TIR. She's like, well, can you give me a timeline of how this is, what can I do to speed this up? And I can certainly give you things to do to speed up your manifestation. Drop the resistance, let go and let God, do that one job. Are my thoughts in alignment with what I want? Do I have the image of what I want? Yes. Okay, good. Am I emotionally involved in a positive way, or at least a neutral way? In my case yesterday, can I just get neutral? Can I just get above negativity on this one? Yes. Okay, good. Can I be in the energy of this all is going to resolve? And I have one job and one job only, and that's just to handle this situation. And if it's not, let it go and just know, have the faith based in knowledge that if we hold the image and stay in the vibration and drop the resistance, the ideals will flow, inspired action will flow. It will all come to us because once we elevate to the frequency of the good we desire, all the answers are there. All the solutions are there. That's what all the great inventors have known for years and years and years. So your job is to be in joy. Your job is to enjoy the vibrational equivalent of it. Remember how we did the meditations last week? Remember how good you felt, how at peace you felt, how aligned you felt, how powerful you felt, seeing it, feeling it in the moment. And you do that for the joy of it, not to make it happen. And then more good news. Literally, good news just popped into my desk. I'm telling you, you cannot make this stuff up. You do it. I'm going to start crying. You do it because you love the feeling of being in the alignment. And then good news shows up. Okay? The reason I'm harping on this, if I am harping, is because the manifestation business has largely got put into the hustle and grind paradigm. I'm doing this because I can't stand where I am and I have to get this. I just have to get this. There's so much pressure. This has to happen. Guess what? That is back asswards. Colorful language today. That's not how this works. I mean, it will work marginally well, but it is like using a cart and buggy versus a Formula One race car, a horse and buggy, right? Or being in a hot air balloon versus flying to the moon in a rocket ship. This is the new leading edge of the business we're in here. It's not sexy because when I try to sell this to people, they want this so badly. They've been wanting it so badly, and they equate the not having it, wanting it gap with manifesting it. That is not true. When you fall in love with being in alignment and this process in the belief, cultivating belief, thoughts you think on a regular basis, beliefs, and to Laura's point, faith. And then if you think of the Matrix, when Neo went from believing, he was still dodging bullets, right? When he knew the bullets, he just put his hand out and the bullets fell to the ground. When you have that level of belief and integration, and you love that, the worry falls away, the fear falls away, the doubt falls away because it's been replaced with faith. Faith in what? Faith in your infinite ability to create whatever you want. That's how we were created by God.
And Peggy,
I believe.
I have to say too, that let's say that the goal is never achieved. Okay. Let's just say that for a second. Let's pretend, because right now we're on our way. I would much rather live in peace and faith than worry and fear. So whatever the future brings, even with my goals and everything I want, I'm much happier this way. So where's the loss? There is no loss in this.
Yeah.
It's a way, the way of it. It's the peaceful way of it. I
Right.
think that's the book. Oh, there's your book, The Peaceful Way of It.
The joy of the journey, the joyful journey. It's harder. Well, that's a belief. It's easy for me to sell that because honestly, well, let me just remind me to tell you a thought I have. But I want to just see how this is landing with you guys. Is this producing a shift in awareness?
It just reemphasizes it,
Yes.
it just,
Calmness of mind is
Yes.
one of the beautiful jewels of wisdom. It's a result of long and patient effort, right? That James Allen. And Laura, I love what you said because the world we live in, I mean, I just spent 2 weeks with my daughter, who's going to be 24, had a life that most people would give a extra organ for, has friends, quite literally, who are part of the royal Jordanian family, and this and that and all the other things. I don't say that to impress you. And my friends who have children, highly successful people in their own right, their children are highly successful, and everybody's in therapy. Now, I'm not anti-therapy. I think therapy is good to a point. But why would people who have every pinnacle of success by almost everybody's standards be so anxious and fearful and confused? And I want to go out and I don't want to be viewed as everybody should drop out of therapy and do this work. I think they should do both, to be quite frank, because I don't believe we have learned how to live a successful, aligned, healthy, happy, peaceful, confident, fulfilled, and abundant life the way we've been built to live because of ignorance, pure and simple. They are not teaching this at Brown University. They're not teaching it at Harvard. They're not teaching it anywhere else that I can tell. So
they teach you how to be anxious all the time of what you don't have.
well, whatever. I mean, it's the
They do.
old, it's back to my point. I'm grateful for the medical advances. I'm grateful for aviation advances. It allowed me to be in New York in 6 hours. I'm grateful for my vehicle, for telecommunications. I'm grateful for all of this, but if you don't understand what we're learning here, you're missing 99.999% of it, because back to Laura's point, you are always manifesting. You are always manifesting something.
Mm-hmm.
And just like, it's almost like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. She had the power to go home all along. She just didn't know it. You have had the power. I've had the power. We all have the power. We're born with the power. Bob used to say, well, we're here to do God's work. And Bob would say, they'd say, well, what's God works? And he'd say, well, Bob, being the creator, we're here to create on earth to make this world a better world in alignment with what God wants. Greater expansion, abundance, faith, happiness, joy. Back to your point, Laura. And that's why when Earl Nightingale said, and here's another book, got to get my ass in gear and start writing some books. Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. Success isn't a million brass rings. Success isn't $50 million in your bank account. There are people with $50 million who are miserable. Now, I'm not saying being poor is the answer. I'm saying this is a byproduct of being in alignment with what you truly desire. The brass ring comes as you focus on growth, of living in harmony with the laws of the universe, of living in alignment with the infinite being that you are, of creating the expansion, the growth, the goodness on this planet. Because there is no neutral. You're either growing or you're going backwards. That's what he's talking about here. So I love what you said, Laura, that the goal here is to live in that peaceful alignment, in the faith, in the knowing, in the belief that if I do my work, if I think on a conscious level, if I feel use my will to get emotionally involved in what I want, enjoy the vibrational equivalent of it, not need to have it in the bank account in the garage, then guess what? It shows up.
You know what just hit me is that when I am fear, worry, and doubt and all that, it's a constrictor. It constricts the flow. And what just came to me, and I don't know if anything's going to come of it, but one of my big barriers I've seen is how expensive the pods are and how we can move forward. What we are great at marketing. We've already proven that we have more pods than anybody else. Why not partner? I've already talked to them about getting the pods cheaper, which they've talked about. Forget that. Why not partner with the manufacturer? We'll be the marketing arm. They'll be the manufacturer. So when there's no fear or anything's possible, you know, then God can talk to you, right? The
Right.
universe, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
Well,
Right.
damn, I gotta go.
Bye. Get to work. But see, but here's the thing. We need an inspired action journal, right? You need to write that stuff down.
Well, I don't need to, I just act on it.
Oh, okay, good. Even
I
better.
just acting on it.
Okay,
I really
better.
honestly would be a waste of time for me.
But
I
Bob
just go.
used to say, but for the rest of us, Bob used to say, $1 million ideas fly by me every day. Y'all know who Sarah Blakely is, right? I know Joni's a fan. She did a master class in that amazing program called Masterclass. And she said, everybody has $1 million ideas. Everybody has had $1 million idea. Who's doing it? She took all the money out of her bank account on this crazy idea because she cut the feet off her pantyhose because she wanted a smoother leg line in her white summer pants and figured out. And I think she had a couple of disasters along the way, but she never gave up a progressive realization of a worthy ideal. We have success so screwed up in our minds. We think we aren't successful until we get it. Most people give up before they get there. 3 Feet from Gold in Napoleon Hill's book. They give up. Don't give up. And when you're in worry, fear, and doubt, it's a major pumping of the brakes. People start, then they stop. They start, then they stop. They start, then they stop. But when we cultivate this level of belief, and that's what I want you to do with this and go through this, when your belief about anything is based upon your evaluation, and frequently when you reevaluate something, your belief will change. We're reevaluating how we've been taught to live. This is not small potatoes here that we're dealing with. This is major life-changing reevaluation. Everything we've learned up until now has been wrong. Not everything. Most of the big things have been wrong. You can't be happy until it's in the garage. You can't be happy until your partner's in your bed. You can't be successful until XYZ. Manifestation. I'll be happy when it comes. Guess what? That is hard on the brakes. If your happiness is conditional for when it's going to show up, you are hitting it hard on the brakes. You want to be so happy now that it's here, it's coming. And you cannot wait until somehow something just pops in. You live in that tingly joy of getting ready to be ready to be ready, of expectant, positive anticipation, like Phil Goldfine. I have no idea how it's going to happen. He has actors on the regular that back out of their contracts because they can. He deals with some really amazing people who are also a little cuckoo. You've been watching the Gwyneth Paltrow thing, that whole thing. I mean, just wild.
Yeah,
this is in Park City.
It's just weird.
I know the whole thing's just weird. But my point is, he doesn't go, oh my gosh, I am the executive producer of this movie. There are literally tens of millions of dollars at stake here. My main person just dropped out. Steven Seagal dropped out of a movie he was supposed to do with Phil years ago. Phil told me the story. And it was in Croatia or something. And Steven Seagal was like, I'm not going to Croatia. I'm not going there. I've heard it's terrible. He was the lead. Phil was like, Bob, what do I do? Bob's like, stop worrying about it. Stop it. And Phil did everything Bob told him to do. So Phil just focused on seeing Seagal in the movie, seeing it going clearly. Fast forward, Seagal not only was in the movie, not only was it very successful, he loved whatever the country was. I think it was Croatia so much that he bought a house there. And Bob was like, of course he did. You know, like Phil bent the arc of reality with his thoughts, because we always are, to Laura's point. We're always bending the arc of reality. We have that much power. And that can be scary or it can be comforting, that we have that little lane that all we got to do is mind our work and do our work and feel in love with how it's going to happen and the imagination of it and the fulfillment of it. I mean, I see myself, I can smell the cut lumber of the wood in our new house. I don't know why. I have built a big house before with my ex-husband, and there's something about that smell of freshly cut, like 2x4s. You can smell that, right? Like that smell. I can smell that. I can see it. I can see the flooring being laid down. I can see the furniture. I can feel myself getting up in the morning before I open my eyes, waking up in that bed with that view. And it doesn't make me feel like, oh, where am I going to get the extra million that the house is going to cost? And oh, I don't know how I'm going to pay for it. If I start going down that rabbit hole, I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. Nope. None of my business. Oh, it's going to be so great. I can see myself driving up the driveway. I can see all of you there visiting as clients and friends. I can see entertaining there. I can see the relationships I can build with people. You know, I can see my beautiful office there. That's the work, ladies. That's it. Now, it's a mental muscle. Remember in lesson 5, we talked about our higher faculties, 6 of them.
Mm-hmm.
That's the work that we have to do. Phil, when I call him, he's like, are you thinking about what you want? I'm like, nope. He's like, discussion over. Get back at it. Because ultimately we become what we think about all day long, and we're setting ourselves on a frequency of something all the time. So the question you want to ask is not why is this happening to me? It's where are my thoughts, feelings, and behavior?
Mm-hmm.
Are they in alignment with my goal achieved? Because you can go there in a heartbeat in imagination, and you can stay there by using your will to get emotionally involved in it. Kathy, how good does it feel now that you're serving,
Oh, it's
tens?
so wonderful.
Yeah.
After every class, I go, this is just candy.
It's just,
No,
it is.
It is just candy. It really is.
doesn't have to be hard, but when we can fall in love with the process and be okay with that. And back to Laura's point, have faith, have belief, faith, knowledge. It's not hard to have faith. If I put a pot of water on the stove, I don't sit there and wonder if when it reaches 212, if it's going to boil. I'm never worried about that. When you understand that video that I put up that Bob talks about, when you understand that is the fundamental law of our being,
Mm-hmm.
you don't get wrapped around the axle about anything. First of all, your current circumstances, that's old news. That is a lagging indicator. That's old news. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I want you to go through this lesson and really write down, where do you want to be with your finances in 3 years? Where do you want to be in your business? Do you want to be an icon? Do you want to be on stages? Laura, I know you have big dreams. Where do you want to be in your relationships? What are you doing? What are you contributing? How are your sales? Are you researching how to be at the top of your game? We used to, we did this TIR program with a group that was in Cambridge. It was $100 million pharma company, and they were in the old Polaroid building, the iconic Polaroid building in Cambridge, Massachusetts. on Memorial Drive. What happened to Polaroid? They didn't keep growing. We have to keep growing personally in our businesses, in the business of us. And we're all here doing that, but let's do it in a more intentional, a more conscientious way. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll see you all next Tuesday night.
Thanks, Peggy. Great.
Talk to you soon. Loved it. Loved this.
Yeah.
I want to know what your other good news was.
What?
Two things. You said you've got some other good news. You didn't tell us what it was. And the other thing was you said, remind me to tell you something, and then you never told us.
Oh.
And Laura was talking about pieces away.
Oh, I told you guys, it was about this idea that everybody's in therapy. And it's this concept. These are people who, by society's standards, should have not a care in the world. There's money, there's status, there's education, there's healthcare, there's food, there's safety. I mean, there's everything. And yet, there's not peace. There's anxiety and depression. I'm here to solve that problem because, it should not be a problem with what we know at this point in life. Yeah. And I know I'm developing a concept of why it's a problem, and I want to be respectful of the world of therapy. I think there's absolutely a place and time for psychiatric medication in critical situations, for therapeutic situations, but I've done that for decades and nothing changed my life like learning who I am and how the universe works. Nothing, not even.
I see the same
close.
thing. Totally.
People don't know how to live a fulfilled, abundant life the way we're built to live. So naturally, you're going to feel inept, inadequate, unhappy, anxious, depressed.
Because you let the outside world be your inside world.
And you have desires that you don't know how to fulfill. You don't know how to express. You're worried about what other people are going to think, say, feel. You're living a life in alignment with what your parents think or what society thinks versus being in alignment with who you truly are. That, to me, being anxious and depressed is meaning you're out of alignment, as Abraham would say, with who you truly are. That's an indicator. Your emotional guidance scale. It doesn't mean you're broken. It means you are getting colder, getting colder, getting colder. How about getting warmer, getting warmer, getting warmer? And that's based on knowing what these laws are and who we really are and what we're capable of. And that's what I love about this lesson. He's telling us here, you are an infinite being in an infinite universe. And when you live in alignment with that intentionally, consciously, the world is your oyster. Like you said, it's like, what do I want today? And it's not that in the getting of what you want that you're happy. It's being happy in the faith that it's going to unfold in a magical way.
And being at peace.
And just feeling better. Yeah, exactly. You're saying the same thing. Just feeling better.
Feeling better.
I love the thing that it does. What feels better to you? Therapy or confusion? Happy or miserable? Go through the whole thing.
Reaching for Yeah, no, that's so good. Okay, people, I got to jump, but talk to you soon. Bye.
Love you.